관계 투쟁이었네. 다와도 제가 배신을 담배전에 된저 고담 편라 창성로. 되게. 그때에 에 비유 담정이야. 에다 다가한다 남쪽 인스티튜션. 전에 저지난체. 에다 세리부님들이야. 돌린 구두차지. 도스타 충분히 엔다가 가나페 엔 수수런지 대페 엔차도 지다가 슝금이 잘하는 게 지. 엔다가 신기 경험을 두스 단점제 충분히 엔 상관없이야 참지슈에 테스트리슈이. Now I try speak my broken English in order to save time. Indeed, I'm very happy. Very happy. Come here. Since 1956, Buddha Jayanti celebration. Through Sikkim, I come and also return from this town, from this sort of area, and then emotionally, Sikkim very close. With Lhasa, perhaps I think with Lhasa. Dharamsala, quite far. So I born in Amdo area. About I think 3-4 years I remained there. Then rest, I think about 20 years. I live in Lhasa. So emotionally, Sikkim very close in our mind. So a lot of progress, yeah. Indeed, I'm very happy. Now, the conference or dialogue with modern scientists last now, I think, around 30 years. Originally, my own personal curiosity. Since my childhood, I have keen interest about technology, about science. So then, eventually, it became quite clear. The meeting with modern scientists, there is immense help to mutual learning. So that eventually now, this kind of, dialogue actually institutionalized. So in Tibetan refugee monastic institution, in the past now several years, selected monk student now carry study of science. Now actually now we already translated into Tibetan about science, eventually introduced in all these big monastic institution. So originally, some of our older scholars and the kishis, little reservation. When I talk, it is necessary to study science. Then they say, little reservation. But now they found it is very useful. Like that. And then, actually, I think 40 years ago, when I indicated or expressed some my friend, some American, actually Buddhist, sort of my sort of desire to dialogue or discussion with modern scientists. Some of them actually, you see, expressed to me, oh, be careful. Science is killer of religion. So therefore, be careful. Then I thought. How? No. In Buddhism, Pali tradition, then Sanskrit tradition, like Nagarjuna, and many great masters of Nalanda sort of university, monastic sort of university. You see, they very much emphasis skeptical and with sort of skepticism, and investigate. Through investigate, then you will find a reality. Without investigation, you cannot find the reality. Without skepticism, you may not bring the investigation. So Buddha himself, you see, expressed or told to his follower, "O my follower, bhikshus and others should not accept my teaching out of faith and devotion, but rather investigation, experiment." So therefore, we Buddhists have some kind of liberty to investigate even Buddha's own word. Therefore, like Nagarjuna, Arya Sangha, Arya Deva, Buddha Palita, Vabhiga, and all these great masters, you see, they follow the Buddha's advice. Even Buddha's own word, they carry investigation, whether certain point mentioned in certain text or Buddha's own word can acceptable or not, through investigation, logical investigation. If they found certain point, although Buddha's own word, but still finds contradiction with reasons, with experiment, then we have the right or liberty to reject that. So that's a very scientific way of sort of study. So therefore, I thought, no problem. Whether science is really killer of religion or not, I have to investigate. So we start, you see, with meeting or discussion with scientists. Now, since instead of killer, but becoming more supportive. So that's just sort of the background. Little sort of short history about that. Then a few months ago, you came, Ramsara, there are some discussions. Then I suggested this kind of conference should take in Sikkim. It is very relevant. In the meantime, I also see fact, frankly speaking, if this kind of meeting take place here, that also gives me an opportunity to come. So now it materialized at this meeting, and also I have the opportunity to come. But timing, season, quite cold. I think our guest, the scenery really beautiful, but quite cold. In any way, indeed I am very happy. Now I just want to mention 3 points. Number one, in academic level, knowledge level, modern science in the field of the external things, highly developed, really remarkable. Yet, about inner science, about the human mind, about inner peace, or mental stability. Everybody has experience, but very little knowledge, how important it is. and how to develop these things. So in this field, I think Eastern philosophy, particularly India's tradition, a lot of material about emotion, about mind, and how to sort of shape positive sort of a way, positive mind, transform way, a positive mind. And there are also method. Buddhism and Hinduism, Jainism, all Indian traditions. So they, 1,000 years, they carry practice of samadhi and vipassana. All these related with mind. So here we have quite rich information about inner science. So modern science, in order to become more complete, external thing, internal thing, this kind of sort of dialogue is actually, you see, helping to expand our knowledge about inner science, inner reality. So that's number one sort of point. Number two, second point, I often say telling people, I'm Buddhist, of course, a practitioner, and my daily sort of life, 4 or 5 hours meditation or prayer. But still, I'm a very skeptical about the power of blessing, about the power of prayer. Just, you see, a few months ago, I was in Japan, in Hiroshima. You see, there's some Nobel laureate meeting. So in the final day, the sort of big something like, I don't know, the big gathering, and those Nobel laureates. Then I express, world peace cannot come through prayer, through blessing. Peace must come through our action. Action is more important than prayer, than blessing. Then also a few months ago, I was in Patna. The Bihar Chief Minister constructed huge Bihara. So he also invited me. I went there. And then in his speech, he mentioned, due to Buddha's blessing, Bihar state will progress rapidly. Then my turn, talk. Of course, I know Chief Minister very well. So I told him, if Bihar state's sort of development due to Buddha's blessing, then Bihar state much earlier should develop. But the reality, Buddha's blessing there, it is for granted, take for granted. But Buddha's blessing must go through active Chief Minister's hand, his action. So now, I think due to the Buddha's blessing as well as the Pema Sabha's blessing, if you're doing nothing, remain there. And some lamas carry puja days and nights, will not happen your progress. You must work hard. That's important. So you see, my point is, last few thousand years, human being on this planet, whenever we're facing some problems, difficulties, pray. Individually, yes, pray. Some help. So in community level, no. So therefore, then eventually, I think around 2-3 centuries, science, technology developed. And technology immediately brought certain thing which we want. So naturally, people really feel science and technology are really miracle, really bring some big change. So naturally, people pay more attention about technology or science and material things. So since gradually people neglect about our inner values. Then later, then I think, again, I want to share with you. Second, the last century, 20th century, really marvelous century. Technology, science, really developed immensely. But meantime, a lot of sort of scientific sort of knowledge and technology ability becoming a destructive force, including nuclear weapon. And also like, because of Newton bomb. Technologically, scientifically, really great achievement. But these achievements, instead of bring more happiness, but bring more fear, more destruction. And 20th century, according to some historian, over 200 millions of people killed through violence. Although the concept of war since 1,000 years there, but destruction is limited because of the destructive power, very limited. In 20th century, because of the power of destruction rate, immensely increased because of technology, because of science. So those people who invented these science and technology, I think never intend to bring more suffering, more fear on humanity. But it happened like that. So that clearly shows, if we just lived just science and technology alone, not very sure whether really bring happiness or fear like that. So this one factor. I think due to this factor, then the later part of 20th century, among the top scientists, she began to feel importance of the human mind and sort of certain human sort of emotion. I think both way. One way, sheer sort of the knowledge. Now they, like you here, this great scientist, now carrying sort of also the research about the brain, about these things. Then naturally, brain particles very much linked with emotion. Some change here, certain emotion come. Some emotion, some effect on our brain. So their academic level also now, because of their research about subtle level, about brain or the neuron, these things, they really reach very high level. So they begin to pay more attention about emotion, about mind, academic level. Then another level, also as I mentioned earlier, more and more people are really talking, we need moral ethics in every field. In religious field also, due to lack of moral ethics, religion also becoming instrument of exploitation. Sadly, among the Buddhist community also it happened. Then all other religious tradition, lack of moral principle. So some dirty things was happening. So usually I sort of share with other people. Usually people say dirty politics. Governor above politics. Same minister still very active in politics. So the politics usually people say dirty politics. Then I have the view. Politics is very important. Another sort of kind of instrument to serve people, to serve community, to serve country. It is necessary. But politics itself, nothing dirty, but because politicians a lack of moral principle, then politics become dirty politics. So similarly, religion, like myself, with monk's robe, if think only sort of money or name, use religious teaching, then that religion also become dirty religion. Very clear. An economy, or even scientist, with lack of moral principle. Science also can be dirty science. So therefore, now we really need, and then look, everywhere, corruption. Almost like now, universal disease, right? Just a few people killed. Death sentence, not answer. We must build moral ethics based on basic sort of realization of human value. So therefore, now quite obvious whether religious believer or non-believer, everywhere, because of the more thinking people accept or realize we are lacking, we have some problem due to lack of inner strength, or because of that, because just moral ethics. So, now, in order to promote these moral ethics, here is a different views. Some my friend, some Muslim, some Christian, they have great reservation to show me when I use the secular ethics. They say secularism is something a little bit negative towards religion. So they have that kind of understanding way or view. And also, you see, those many believers believe any moral ethics must be based on religious faith. You know, the late Pope John Paul. He come from Poland, Polish, so similar sort of experience. So since my first meeting, we become very close sort of spiritual sort of brotherhood like that, very close people. So one time, I boldly asked him whether moral ethics should be based on religious faith or not. He didn't answer, but his lieutenant answered, any moral ethics must be based on religious faith. My point is, if moral ethics, everybody accept moral ethics is necessary. If moral ethics must be based on religious faith, then, like India, then further complication. What religion? What faith? Or here, on Sadaji, Sikhism. Sikhism, I think, because of that later developed, and I think very much in the spirit of non-sectarian. Wonderful. Guru Nanak, one time, because of pilgrimage to Mecca, isn't it? Wonderful. But in any way, There are so many different religions in this country. So difficult. So naturally, because of that reality, our forefathers like Gandhi or Rajendra Prasad and because of Dr. Ambedkar or all these sort of scholars, lawyers, right? Or when they made India's constitution must be based on secularism. So secularism does not mean disrespect of any religion, but rather respect all religions equally. As Chief Minister stated, this is really wonderful. So secularism does not mean some kind of negative towards religion. And also, there must be secular way to promote ethics. Any ethics, from my viewpoint, based on sense of concern of others' well-being. If you have genuine sort of sense of concern of others' well-being, then there is no room to harm others. There is no room to cheat. There is no room to exploitation. And so long that because of the sense of, because of concern of others' well-being, then you can be open, transparent, truthful. That really brings trust. Trust is the basis of friendship. We are a social animal. We need cooperation. For that, we need genuine friendship. That we need trust. In order to develop trust, you should be honest, transparent, saying something, doing something different. Then, how can develop trust? So, inner strength there, more compassionate sort of feeling there, inner strength come. With inner strength, self-confidence, open to everybody. That's the basis of trust, from mutual trust. So now here, not necessarily religious faith. Using our common sense, using our common experience. I always was telling people, now for example here, perhaps a few hundred people here, everybody come from our mother. At very young age, everybody received maximum affection from our mother. Then, I think those scientists, I think can find those people outwardly. We all, there's a certain sort of, I think smart appearance there, but in deep inside, those individuals who receive maximum affection from our mother, deep inside, much stable. Those individuals at that time, lack of, because of the affection from our mother, or some kind of fear, and also the abuse, or such sort of experienced sort of child, for the rest of life, in deep inside, some kind of sense of insecurity. That brings frustration or some deep inside lack of self-confidence. That creates more problem. So therefore, these are, moral ethics, not based on religious faith, but using common sense and common experience. Then, the scientific finding, as our great scientists and both, you see clearly, sort of make it clear presentation. These are very useful. More warm-heartedness is immense benefit to happy family, happy individual, even healthy body. then ultimately world peace or genuine equality or reduce the rich and poor
Gap between.
global level as well as national level. All these ultimately related with inner moral ethics. So if inner moral ethic should pursue through religious faith, then more complication. Without touching religion, simply the secular way to promote this. And this promotion, as you mentioned, through young age, educate them. The moral ethics is one's own benefit, one's own happy life. Everybody is selfish. So if people realize this warm-heartedness is the immense benefit to oneself, one's own family, then they will pay more attention about these things. If we say, or if you should practice compassion, because Buddha loves compassion, or Jesus Christ loves compassion, then many people say, oh, don't care. Or compassion is important for your own health, for your own sort of happy day and night. Then pay more attention. It's clear. I think I am Buddhist. I do respect Buddha and all other sort of spiritual leaders. I think, they show us a certain method to promote these things. But frankly speaking, more or less fail. Of course, some individual, some get benefit. But humanity as a whole, nearly 7 billion human beings, I don't think. Now we need secular way to promote. Not through Lama, not through teacher, not through saint, but through education. That we can do. Using these materials. Most important part is the scientific sort of finding. So that's the number two way. So that's why, in order to bring a happy humanity, a happy society, happy individual, the moral ethics are important. But the way to promote these, not through religion, not through religious faith, but through the secular way, based on scientific sort of research, finding. Then third point, since those traditions of India, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of sort of information about mind. Within that sort of the tradition, I think Buddhism, the basic Buddhist sort of structure, the final result come through method or practice. Method must be realistic. In order to carry realistic method, we must know the reality. So, therefore, I divided Buddha Dharma 3 parts. Science part, ideology or philosophy part, then practice. So, as far as Buddhist practice is concerned, it's only for Buddhists. But Buddhist science and Buddhist philosophy is something universal. So in this field, we are sort of discussing with scientists, never about Buddhist as a religion. This is many decades, whenever we discuss, I never touch about next life or karma, these things, or nirvana. That's our business, not their business. Our common responsibility is how to build happy society, healthy world. That's our common responsibility. Not talking about next life. Next life, take care by Buddha for Buddhists. or next go to hell or go to heaven, take care by Jesus Christ. So now here, this area, of course, all Himalayan belt, from Ladakh up to Man. Firstly, of course, Buddhism from India go to Tibet, reach Tibet in 8th century, 9th century. I always proudly to say, we are the real holder of real Nalanda tradition. Every important sort of matter about Buddhist concept, we always rely on Nalanda masters sort of quotation or their reasons. So we are truly follower of Nalanda tradition. So that's why I always say, we are Chela of India. Indians are Guru. So our relation is something like relation between Guru and Chela. And sometimes I proudly telling my Indian Guru, we are not only just a Chela, but also quite a reliable Chela. That means the original home of Buddha Dharma, including Nalanda institution and the Birkamala Shila and also Takshashila, then at that time, of course, also is the part of Hindustan. So this area, but due to some invasions, due to some different sort of reasons, then eventually Kasota almost disappear. During these sort of, a lot of sort of ups and downs in Guru's own land, we Chela, through centuries, kept intact those Nalanda tradition. So that's quite reliable, quite a reliable sort of Chela or student. So in any way, then this is a belt, Himalayan range. They eventually, from Tibet, the Buddhism come from Tibet. So from Ladakh up to Man, I think every monastery, every Gomba, and also those, I think, because of the richer family, you have Ganjul, Tenjul, or Yum, Bum, Niti, Gyatamba. So that means you are a follower of this tradition. So therefore, like Sikkim, and since my, I think, second or third visit, I told governor as well as the chief minister at that time, Sikkim state, within the state, there are different sort of believer. Buddhists, Hindus, I think very few Jain. And anyway, maybe some Muslim and some Christians, but state as a whole, Buddhist community. There are so many monasteries, Gombas. So therefore, I think one important aspect of Sikkim, or one important aspect of Sikkimese identity, Buddhist culture, is very important. So therefore, it is important to keep, to preserve Buddhist culture. When I say culture, Buddhist culture, it's related with community. For example, in Tibet, in Lhasa, I think at least 4 centuries, Muslim community there. But these people, these families, religious faith is Muslim, Islam. But their way of life very much in the spirit of Buddhist culture. So when we talk Buddhist culture related with the whole community, then Buddhist religion is an individual matter. So society as a whole, community as a whole. I think it is really part of your own culture, and sort of realistically, it's benefit to keep Buddhist culture. I was told in recent years, now you receive a lot of money from central government. So spend a lot of money, some building. There is danger to forget inner value and Buddhist culture. So you must make special effort for promote this Buddhist culture, not through prayer, but through study, but through education. That I want to. That's third point. So therefore, I thought it is relevant. This kind of meeting should take an area where Buddhist culture traditionally there. That's my reason. So I urged him, like that. So I really appreciate all the concerned people. You organize this organization, that's why this meeting. So I really appreciate. Thank you. Now next 3 days, my way. 3 days, 3 days deliberation will be, I think, useful to some people. It simply reminds, but some people may be open your awareness. So now we spend a few days, and we leaving. 23rd, I'm leaving. So these professors also is leaving. So now people, local people, you have the responsibility to carry these ideas, to implement these ideas. So entirely your own responsibility, entirely depend on your own action. Thank you.